right, good evening, RWL fans, wherever you may be. We are in Tucson, Arizona this evening for tonight's RWL Rage. How's everyone this evening? My name is Don Hickson, and I will be joined, as usual, by Christy Ogilvie and booking agent Myron Schimmelman. And you've got to give a tip of the hat to Hangman Tex Lynch over at Snarl. What a card they had recently.
I admit I had a little bit to do with that. I had a small hand in those affairs.
And how about the new team of JBL and Ted DiBiase, sticking it to the sectarians? Or the fact that MJ Ferrantino finally won the bidding war for American powers? No doubt, it was one of the best Snarl cards I've seen for a while. Which, of course, means we're getting ready to at least try and match it, and judging from tonight's schedule, that's looking really possible.
It most certainly is, Christy. Let's get things underway with ladies tag team competition as Team Brooklyn Von Braun and Josie Jane get set to face Grace Fenwick and Jessica Goldman of the UK ladies.
Good evening, Tucson, and welcome to RWL Rage. Our opening match, a ladies tag, scheduled for one fall with a 20-minute time limit. Coming down the aisle, from Syracuse, New York, Brooklyn Von Braun, and from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, Josie Jane. Together they are Team Brooklyn.
The proud ladies contingent of the Riley Flash Wrestling Academy, the Can-Am connection as it were, the American hero Brooklyn Von Braun, and Canadian Josie Jane, who have been partners for quite some time ever since they were in wrestling school together. And if they don't know each other's moves by now, they never will. And they are slated this evening to face Grace Fenwick and Jessica Goldman of the UK ladies, and that is definitely going to be an exciting matchup to start things off tonight.
Their opponents, from London, England, Grace Fenwick, and from Melbourne, Australia, Jessica Goldman, the UK ladies.
And wherever Tex Lynch might be right now, he's thinking about Christmas.
Been a bit since we last saw the UK ladies, but they're back tonight, and you know these two. Like a pair of middle school mean girls, they take pride in putting a hutton on their opponents. Grace Fenwick gets a double rating for that. Brooklyn Von Braun and Josie Jane had best to have come prepared for this match, because if they slip just once, even a little slip, the UK ladies will exploit it as far as they can.
I'm kind of ashamed to admit it, but I can kind of see what Tex means about that music reminding me of the holiday season.
Yes, well, that notwithstanding, Myron, a great opening match as Josie Jane and Grace Fenwick begin this matchup as referee Charles Lucera sounds the bell. The ladies come center ring. Grace Fenwick slamming Josie Jane face first into the canvas. Grace Fenwick whipped to the far corner by Josie, rebounds out, counters with a kick to the midsection of Josie Jane, misses with a running kick, nails her with a jab, and a beautiful spinning slam right there. Josie Jane countering with an arm drag. Grace Fenwick counters with a hard right. Josie Jane counters her in turn. Fenwick whipped to the Team Brooklyn corner. Josie Jane countered into the corner and whipped to the opposing team's corner. Josie Jane counters, finds her way out of danger. Counter whips Grace Fenwick back to the Team Brooklyn corner. Again, Grace Fenwick defying Josie Jane and counter whips her to the UK ladies. And here comes Jessica Goldman on the tag. Josie Jane being set up on the top turnbuckle. And look at this right here. Whoa! Are you kidding me? Look at this. A huge pile. A Jenga pile. What a slam. Josie Jane tags out. Here comes America's hero, Brooklyn Von Braun. Jessica Goldman says, oh, no, you don't. Brooklyn Von Braun countered again by Jessica Goldman. They lock up. Brooklyn shoves her back. A clothesline takes Jessica Goldman down. A low drop kick to the knee from Brooklyn Von Braun. Brooklyn misses with a second drop kick. Here comes Grace Fenwick. Brooklyn and Grace locked up here in a Dragon Sleeper. A gouge of the eyes from sadistic Grace Fenwick. Brooklyn whipped to the opposing team's corner. She counters and quickly escapes. Counters Grace Fenwick towards her team's corner. Misses with the rising knee. And Grace Fenwick trying to escort Brooklyn Von Braun to her team's corner, but she would rather not go. Brooklyn countered again by Grace Fenwick. Fenwick with Brooklyn Von Braun all the way up, but whoa! Pitched her out onto the floor. That was unexpected. Grace Fenwick on the top turnbuckle makes the dive, but doesn't connect. Brooklyn Von Braun quickly getting out of the way. Grace with a kick to the midsection of Brooklyn, and another, and a third. Grace Fenwick winding up the arm of Brooklyn Von Braun from behind. Brooklyn counters with an elbow. Grace Fenwick taken down with a suplex by Brooklyn Von Braun as referee Charles Lucera continues to count. Grace Fenwick misses with the kick. Brooklyn Von Braun misses with the crossbody. Grace Fenwick rounds her up. Whoa! What a slam onto the floor for Brooklyn Von Braun. Brooklyn taken down with a clothesline. Grace Fenwick gathers Brooklyn up again. A quick counter, a forearm from Brooklyn Von Braun. An arm drag from Grace Fenwick. And a beautiful sling blade that takes Brooklyn down the floor yet again. Grace Fenwick with a series of shots. Whoa! Out of the pages of the Bruce Lee playbook right there. Brooklyn Von Braun rolls back inside the ring by Grace Fenwick. Here comes Josie Jane. Tagged in, Grace Fenwick ducks out of the way. Oh, look at this. Josie Jane counters. A drop kick. Takes her down. Grace Fenwick taken down again with a second clothesline. A basement drop kick to the knee from Josie Jane. A kick to the midsection for Grace Fenwick. Fenwick counters with an arm drag. Misses with a chop. Whoa, Josie Jane with a hard slap across the face and a leg drop right across the throat of Grace Fenwick. Josie Jane going for a cover here. One, but Jessica Goldman breaks up the pin. Josie Jane stepping outside for a brief reset. Reasons unknown. Grace Fenwick caught up by Josie Jane, whipped to the Team Brooklyn corner. A beautifully executed monkey toss from Josie Jane. A stomp to the back of Grace Fenwick. Fenwick laid out center ring, and here we go. Round and round and round we go, and where we stop, we get very, very sick. Grace Fenwick experiencing the giant swing at the hands of Josie Jane. Josie covered once. But no, again, Jessica Goldman breaking up the pin one more time. Grace Fenwick takes Josie Jane down to the canvas once more. Gathers her back up. A hard knee to the face for Josie Jane as Grace Fenwick drags her towards center ring. Fenwick immediately covers. 1, 2, and again another near fall as Josie Jane finds her way out of the pin. A hard elbow to the top of the head of Josie Jane from Grace Fenwick. Fenwick rounds her up, flips her to the UK ladies corner. Here comes Jessica Goldman on the tag, and here comes another double team. Look at this right here. They've got her set up for a tombstone pile driver, and look at that, a spike tombstone pile driver from the UK ladies. Jessica Goldman immediately goes for the cover here. 1, 2, 3, and that is all, folks. The UK ladies defeating Team Brooklyn by pinfall.
Here's the time, 6 minutes and 7 seconds, and your winners, the UK ladies.
Well now, Christy, Myron, it would seem to me that Grace Fenwick and Jessica Goldman might have doubled up on their helpings of Wheaties tonight, because they have just routed Team Brooklyn in only 6 minutes and then some. Grace Fenwick and Jessica Goldman with a big-time win over Team Brooklyn.
For a tag team match, yeah, that was mad fast, and it seems like Team Brooklyn got wrong-footed by the UK ladies very early in the match, and they just never recovered from it, and were unable to bounce back. Team Brooklyn's offense wasn't very present, and it damn sure wasn't very strong when they had it. Kind of a shockingly fast end to this one, and the win going to the UK ladies, much to the annoyance of the fans in Tucson. I feel like Brooklyn and Josie just never really got off the ground here, and with Grace and Goldman performing so well, this match was kind of over before it even really got started.
And so there it is, the UK ladies picking up a win over Team Brooklyn. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be back with more RWL Rage right after these messages. Fans, as RWL Rage continues this evening, up next a Legends Division single match highlighting superstar Billy Graham with a major home field advantage here in Tucson, set to go up against the Lone Star superstar Tex McKenzie of Best of the West.
Two big guys, about the same height, about the same weight. Both legends. I figured it would be a terrific matchup. And here he comes now. Big old superstar Billy Graham and the Grand Wizard, the big show-up.
The man of the hour, the man of the power, the man too sweet to be sour, superstar Billy Graham, accompanied by the notorious Grand Wizard of Wrestling with a huge home field advantage tonight.
This next Legends Division match is scheduled for one fall with a 15-minute time limit. Approaching the ring, along with the Grand Wizard of Wrestling, from Paradise Valley, Arizona, weighing 285 pounds, the superstar, Billy Graham.
No joke, you reasoned this one out pretty well, Myron.
Thank you.
For now, though, I'm gonna have to leave this one alone as far as calling a winner. These guys are just way too similar in height, weight, and overall skills in the ring. Of course, Tex McKenzie is gonna have Billy White Moon in his corner, and White Moon never cheats, whereas the Grand Wizard will stop at nothing to help his man score the win. And that's gonna be a mild disadvantage for the guys from Best of the West.
His opponent, joined at ringside by Mid-South champion Billy White Moon, from Houston, Texas, weighing 288 pounds, the Lone Star superstar, Tex McKenzie.
We've grown quite used to seeing Billy White Moon, of course, and his tag team partner Jim Dandy Deacons. It isn't too often that we get to see the Lone Star superstar Tex McKenzie in competition, but that has changed this evening as he sets to go one-on-one against superstar Billy Graham, and this is definitely going to be a terrific Legends Division matchup with both of these men, as you point out, Myron, about the same height, same size, same weight, same wrestling ability.
I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me. Don't come at me later. But I think Texas got an edge.
A pair of big men, a pair of super heavyweights getting ready to lock up here. As referee Charles Lucero sounds the bell, the men come center ring. Tex McKenzie opens up with a kick, a chop. Superstar Graham countering with a jab, gets Tex McKenzie up over the shoulders, but a quick counter into an inverted DDT. The Lone Star superstar misses with the kick. Superstar Graham countered with a kick to the knee. Superstar Graham counters Tex McKenzie. McKenzie with elbows to the face of Superstar Graham. Graham counters with an elbow of his own. The Grand Wizard of Wrestling in his glories at the present time. Here, look at this, a clothesline that doesn't even faze the superstar. A kick to the midsection. Choice for the belly-to-belly suplex, but McKenzie blocks it. Tex McKenzie takes him to the corner, head first into the turnbuckle. Here we go. It's a turnbuckle battering party with Superstar Graham as the guest of dishonor. The Grand Wizard of Wrestling seen enough. He's decided to intercede on behalf of his man, Tex McKenzie, arguing with him. Doesn't see the distraction coming. And here it is. Oh, back suplex from Superstar Graham. Graham now stalking Tex McKenzie. McKenzie rounded up in a fireman's carry here and slammed down, sit out, Michinoku driver from Superstar Billy Graham. Graham going for a quick cover here. 1, 2, barely a 2. Tex McKenzie kicking out at about 1.5 here. Graham back up on his feet before McKenzie. Tex McKenzie rounded up, but Tex counters it into a fireman's carry. Superstar Graham steps out, steps back in, grabs a hold of Tex McKenzie, snap suplex from Superstar Billy Graham. Mid-South champion Billy White Moon watching his Best of the West tag team partner working it out here. Knee to the midsection from Graham, whip to the ropes, a second one. And now parlaying it into a Russian leg sweep. Superstar Billy Graham going to work here on the Lone Star superstar Tex McKenzie. A flip over neck whip from Graham. The Grand Wizard of Wrestling definitely looking like he's happy about all this. Over the top shoulders, here we go. A counter into a DDT from the Lone Star Superstar Tex McKenzie. Superstar Graham certainly feeling the effects of that one. McKenzie rounds him up a beautiful shoulder. A second one, down goes Graham a second time. Duck under, and whoa! A beautiful flying clothesline. Graham winds up on the corner. Tex McKenzie countered by Superstar Billy Graham. McKenzie counters Graham. A kick to the midsection from the Superstar. A counter from Tex McKenzie, and another running elbow that takes Graham down to the mat. A big-time leg drop from Tex McKenzie. Superstar Graham looking like he's losing control of things here. And here's a stump puller. A possible submission here. Graham quickly rolls his way out of danger. So look at this. Grabs a hold of McKenzie, slams him down with one arm. How about this right here from Superstar Graham? Graham rounds up McKenzie into a DDT on the Lone Star Superstar. Graham covers, hooks the leg. 1, 2, 3. It is all over.
Here's the time, 3 minutes and 35 seconds. And your winner, Superstar Billy Graham.
I'm not exactly sure how much of it you could attribute to the home field advantage, but Superstar Billy Graham absolutely wowing the fans here in Tucson, wrapping up the Lone Star Superstar Tex McKenzie in pretty short order.
It's funny how this happened at Snarl the other night. They had a few matches that just kind of breezed through, and it looks like we're getting a little taste of the same tonight, with yet another match, ending very quickly, with Superstar Graham picking up a very fast 3-count pinfall over Tex McKenzie. I'm sure the Grand Wizard is very happy with this one, and that goes double for Superstar Billy Graham.
Indeed, the Superstar picking up a quick and easy win over the Lone Star Superstar. We will be right back with more RWL Rage right after this. Fans, RWL Rage continues now with more Legends Division competition, and up next, it's going to be Akam and Razor, the authors of Pain, set to lock it up against Mil Mascaras and the Blue Demon, the men from Lucha.
This next Legends Tag match, scheduled for one fall with a 20-minute time limit. Approaching the ring from parts unknown at a combined weight of 620 pounds, here are Akam and Razor, the authors of Pain.
A big and vicious tag team with a decided history behind them. Akam and Razor, the authors of Pain, former WWE Tag Team Champions twice over at least, formerly managed by the likes of Drake Maverick and the great Paul Ellering, former manager of the Road Warriors, Hawk and Animal. And the authors of Pain were perceived to be the next generation of tag team superstars, and they are here tonight to compete against the legendary Mil Mascaras and the Blue Demon of the men from Lucha.
While they never quite reached the levels of fame enjoyed by the Road Warriors or the Dudley Boys, that doesn't mean they aren't fearsome competitors who can, and have, destroyed a long list of other tag teams that didn't quite measure up. And that hard-driving smash-mouth style of theirs may give Mil Mascaras and Blue Demon a good bit of difficulty in this match.
And their opponents, both hailing from Mexico City, Mexico, and at a combined weight of 456 pounds, the Blue Demon, and Mil Mascaras, the men from Lucha.
And how about these two guys? They've done absolutely everything. Pro wrestling, the movies, television, forget about it. They've just done it all. Blue Demon and Mil Mascaras, personal friends of Hangman Tex Lynch. And they're going into this match against the authors of Pain at a pretty sizable disadvantage.
Akam and the Man of 1,000 Masks starting off this tag team matchup. as Walt Ralph Burns sounds the bell. Akam with a rib breaker on Mil Mascaras. Akam pacing around Mascaras, goes behind, nails him with a forearm, goes behind again. Side suplex from Akam. Mil Mascaras rounded up to his feet again. Akam with a belly-to-belly suplex. Mil Mascaras finding himself in some trouble. Early goings here. Akam whips him to the far corner. There goes the referee. Mascaras counters, gets him into the corner, sets him up on the top turnbuckle. Mil Mascaras sets himself up on the top ropes, and look at this, a beautifully executed Hurricane Rana. Absolutely beautiful. Here's a cover. One. Only a one. Akam sits right back up. This may not be good for Mil Mascaras. The man of 1,000 masks rounded up into another belly-to-belly by Akam. And here's the tag. Here comes the Blue Demon. And here comes Razor. Blue Demon stands center ring waiting for him. They lock it up, collar and elbow. Razor winds up the arm on the Blue Demon. The Blue Demon counters it into, look at this, a nice hammerlock from the Blue Demon. A sweep of the leg takes him down. Razor back up on his feet again. The Blue Demon with a hard right hand takes him down on the canvas. Blue Demon with a kick to the midsection. And a beautiful implant DDT from Blue Demon. Mil Mascaras making his way back to his tag corner. Razor rounded up by Blue Demon. Hard Irish whip to the ropes. Inverted atomic drop, and down to the canvas we go. A double leg drop to the lower abdominal regions. Razor looking for a way out of town, and there it is. Here comes Akam, and here comes Mil Mascaras. The man of 1,000 masks with a Hurricane Rana on Akam. Gathers him back up again. Goes behind on him. German suplex from Mil Mascaras. A quick tag brings the Blue Demon back inside. Akam back up on his feet. An elbow to the face of the Blue Demon. Blue Demon counters with a hard shot to the midsection. Slams him down with one arm. The Blue Demon rallying the fans here in Tucson. Akam back up on his feet against the ropes. The Blue Demon counter whip to the ropes here. Look at whoa! I don't believe. Whoa! That was absolutely amazing. The Blue Demon absolutely wowing me with that maneuver. Akam counters the Blue Demon. Blue Demon winds up the arm on Akam with a little bit of an arm drag here and into an arm lock on Akam. The referee checking things out here. Akam struggling to get himself loose. Blue Demon's got it locked in really well. Blue Demon releases the hold. Proceeds to beat on Akam with mounted punches. Follows it up with a stomp to the midsection. Makes his way to the corner. Here comes Mil Mascaras, and here comes Razor. A drop kick from Razor to Mil Mascaras. Mascaras rounded up again. Slammed down one arm by Razor. Razor rounds up Mil Mascaras. A headbutt. A massive headbutt taking Mil Mascaras down to the canvas face first. Razor with a rib breaker on the man of 1,000 masks. Mil Mascaras certainly appears to be having his difficulties in this matchup. Razor absolutely stalking Mil Mascaras. Rounds him back up to his feet center ring. Mil Mascaras counters with a kick to the midsection. Razor whip to the men from Lucha's corner. Here comes the Blue Demon on the tag. A double team from the men from Lucha. Razor whip to the ropes, and boom! Double elbow takes him down to the canvas. Blue Demon catches a fireman's carry from Razor. Razor rounds him back up again. Escorts him to the authors of pain. No, excuse me, he's got him up against the ropes. Oh! Blue Demon pitches him over the top rope, and down he goes. Blue Demon quickly countered here into a dragon screw on the outside as Walt Rothburn initiates the count. Blue Demon back up on his feet. Oh my, driven into the ring post by Razor. Razor rounds up the Blue Demon, pitches him towards the timekeeper's area as he makes his way back inside the ring. Blue Demon slowly getting back up to his feet. Razor coming out after him again. Blue Demon nails him with an elbow and an inverted atomic drop. That takes Razor down to the floor. Another double leg drop to the lower abdominal regions, and that's gotta hurt. Blue Demon rolls Razor back inside the ring. Razor rounded up by Blue Demon. Hard right spins him around. And here we go. Whoa! Slammed down to the canvas center ring with authority. Blue Demon covers, hooks the leg. 1, 2, 3. A-Cam too late to make the save. The men from Lucha win by pinfall.
Here's the time, 5 minutes and 32 seconds. And your winners, the men from Lucha.
Oh, so far, Myron Christie, it has been a night for some pretty quick matchups, especially in the tag team department. Blue Demon and Mil Mascaras putting away A-Cam and Razor in just a few short minutes. I just don't believe it. I thought this match would run longer and be far more disadvantageous to Blue Demon and Mil Mascaras, but they indeed made extremely short work of the Authors of Pain.
I can't explain it, and I ain't even about to try. All I do know is that was an amazing performance from the two Mexican Lucha Libre legends, making A-Cam and Razor look straight ineffective.
Back with more in just a minute.
Just a quick reminder, fans, that the ongoing Sweet Revenge Summer Tour's next Supercard is only about a week away, so be sure to join us for HTJ. RWL presents the Hotter Than July Supercard, beginning Monday, July 28th, here on the RWL YouTube channel.
Up next, a match that certainly got my attention when I saw it on the schedule. A singles matchup involving Big Bob Duncombe of the Unholy Trinity, backed by Dutch Mantel and primetime Bobby Mills, as he sets the lockup one-on-one against Gene Snitsky of the MJ Ferrantino stable.
So, our MJF snagged American Powers. It was almost unexpected. Hey, Myron.
Yeah?
I heard you were around when Sylvia Strong saw Ferrantino come out with AP at Snarl, so? What was her reaction? I've been dying to know.
It's actually kind of anticlimactic, Christy. She's actually a good sport. I mean, yeah, she stamped her foot and she said, "Oh, darn," and then shrugged her shoulders and then went on about her business.
Everybody just swore up and down that Patty Powers and Liberty Belle Danielle were gonna wind up with the stronghold. Like we say around here, never say never, huh?
This next match is scheduled for one fall with a 15-minute time limit. Coming down the aisle, along with primetime Bobby Mills and Dirty Dutch Mantel from Austin, Texas, weighing 306 pounds, here is Big Bob Duncombe.
Seems like the Unholy Trinity has been trying real hard to make full-on nuisances of themselves, in addition to starting to win more matches. Duncombe and primetime Bobby Mills have been getting themselves some pretty good matches, and, more importantly, they've started winning a bit more than they did last year. Will it lead to a title shot for either or both of them? That, we're gonna have to wait and see about, but the Unholy Trinity has been making some more progress towards the goal.
Well, I'm real interested to see what happens, because this is going to be Bobby Duncombe's first dust-up with Gene Snitsky, and I love first-time encounters.
The Unholy Trinity, under the guidance of Dirty Dutch Mantel, certainly has been very prevalent in the year 2025 here in RWL.
Boy, get a look at Duncombe. He's worked himself into a mood, hasn't he?
It's going to take a lot more than a little bit of bravado for Big Bob Duncombe to pick up a win over Gene Snitsky.
Along with MJ Ferrantino from Nesquehoning, Pennsylvania, weighing 305 pounds, Gene Snitsky.
This is set to be Snitsky's first single match too. Every other time we've seen him, he's been partnered with Lars Sullivan, another recent Ferrantino acquisition. He's got this reputation as a whiz kid, not bad for a guy just past his 30th birthday, and, while he does get some financial help from Tex Lynch, he's made all his most recent deals on his own initiative and with his own resources. And man, this man's built himself one hell of a stable, with so many big men like Snitsky. They're calling the Ferrantino stable, the land of the giants. While he's still building his private empire, he just might present a real challenge to Sylvia Strong for RWL's 2025 Manager of the Year.
This much is certain: MJ Ferrantino, now controlling the largest stable in all of RWL, including Gene Snitsky. Charles Lucero rings the bell. Big Bob Duncombe with Snitsky over the shoulder. Flapjack face first into the canvas. Duncombe rounds him up. Gene Snitsky countering the suplex with a shot to the midsection and a jumping neckbreaker to Duncombe. And now following it up with a brutal series of stomps, a kick to the back. Gene Snitsky gathers him up from behind. Look at this. Slams him face first into the canvas with an inverted DDT sort of thing. And now a blatant choke. Gene Snitsky not going to make apologies for anything he does, as primetime Bobby Mills decides to get himself involved in the situation. Duncombe takes advantage with a suplex on Snitsky. Misses with the kick, counters with a right. Gene Snitsky whipped to the ropes. Duncombe with an elbow takes him down, follows it up with a kick to the back. Rounds up Gene Snitsky again. They lock up, they tussle. Snitsky shoves him back, a clothesline, forces Duncombe into the corner. Big Bob Duncombe shoves his way free, a jumping neckbreaker in retaliation to Gene Snitsky. Snitsky with an elbow to the midsection of Duncombe and a clothesline that deposits Big Bob Duncombe on the outside. MJ Ferrantino watching the whole thing carefully. Gene Snitsky gathering up Big Bob Duncombe. Duncombe counters with a kick to the midsection and a clothesline that takes Snitsky down as referee Charles Lucero continues to count. A hard right, a counter kick from Snitsky. Snitsky with Duncombe up over the shoulder, slams him down. Dirty Dutch Mantel. Looks like he might intrude here. Hopefully not. Snitsky walking right past Dirty Dutch Mantel as Duncombe delivers a series of elbows to Gene Snitsky. Snitsky counters with a hard left. Duncombe counters. Snitsky counters. Makes his way back inside the ring. Look at this. Primetime Bobby Mills introducing a chair here, but the referee getting rid of it. Belly to belly suplex from Big Bob Duncombe. Snitsky back up on his feet, taken down with a clothesline. Followed up with a subsequent clothesline, a rebound off the ropes, and a kick that slows Snitsky down but doesn't take him down completely. But this DDT from Big Bob Duncombe certainly does. Big Bob Duncombe stalking Gene Snitsky here. Has him up over the shoulders in the fireman's carry. Michinoku driver from Big Bob Duncombe with a cover and a hook of the leg, but not even a one. Gene Snitsky powering out almost immediately. Slams Duncombe's face into the canvas again. Gene Snitsky looks like he's firmly in control at the present time. Big elbow. Followed up with a second. Swing and a miss from Duncombe. A rebound off the ropes and a spinebuster from Gene Snitsky. Whoa! Look at this. Duncombe winds up in the far corner. Snitsky misses with that attack. Snitsky catches a shot from Duncombe. Duncombe turns him around, has him up. Snitsky slips out the back door, counters into a DDT. Big Bob Duncombe gathered up to his feet again by Gene Snitsky. Snitsky whips him to the far corner. Snitsky with a series of machine gun rights and an uppercut that sinks Big Bob Duncombe into the corner, followed up with a knee. Big Bob Duncombe collapsing out of the corner. Gene Snitsky covers and hooks the leg. 1, 2, and only 2. Big Bob Duncombe with the wherewithal to find his way out of that pinning predicament. Gene Snitsky debating his next move as Big Bob Duncombe stands himself up. Snitsky moves in, is quickly whipped to the corner by Duncombe, escapes the corner. Duncombe with an elbow, a second one takes Snitsky down to the canvas. Gene Snitsky out on the apron, making his way to a standing position using the ropes. Counters Snitsky with a right, makes his way back inside. Duncombe with a counter shot to the midsection. A kick He's got him up. Gene Snitsky with a knee to the face. Escapes the backbreaker. Duncombe with another kick to the midsection. Big Bob Duncombe escorts Gene Snitsky to the corner, head first into the turnbuckle, and a series of turnbuckle shots from Big Bob Duncombe on Gene Snitsky. Down goes Snitsky, center ring. Duncombe misses with a stomp. Gene Snitsky whips him into the corner. Snitsky sets him up on that top turnbuckle. There's a hard right hand, and this does not look good for Big Bob Duncombe, who's about to take a top rope superplex 10 feet up and 10 feet down for Big Bob Duncombe. Gene Snitsky back to a standing position first. Duncombe counters with a back body drop as again the referee starts his count. Snitsky counters with a hard left, rolls himself back inside the ring. Here comes Big Bob Duncombe. Duncombe counters with a shot. Snitsky counters with a shot of his own. Duncombe whips Snitsky to the corner. A clothesline takes Snitsky down center ring. Big Bob Duncombe undoing the turnbuckle right in front of the referee. Snitsky rounded up again. Duncombe, no doubt intending to whip him into that turnbuckle, slams him down. A leg drop on the arm of Gene Snitsky. Snitsky rounded up again, swing and a miss with the clothesline from Duncombe. Snitsky with a chop. Duncombe with a chop. A hard clothesline takes Snitsky down to the canvas. Big Bob Duncombe already busted open and bleeding from this encounter with Gene Snitsky. Snitsky rounded up again. Another DDT from Big Bob Duncombe. MJ Ferrantino has to be slightly concerned at this point, as Big Bob Duncombe drags Snitsky center ring, rolls him over, covers and hooks the leg here. The referee, look at this, hoist it on your own petard, Duncombe. The referee having to fix the turnbuckle. You could count to 20. Snitsky rounded back up again. Oh my, there's a low shot the referee did not catch. As Duncombe goes for the cover again. 1, 2, 3, and that was absolutely inappropriate.
Here's the time, 7 minutes and 9 seconds, and your winner, Big Bob Duncombe.
That yellow sundish took the punk way out. He figured out he wasn't going to be able to whip Gene Snitsky on his own terms, so naturally, that's where we started seeing outside interference from Dutch and Primetime, and Duncombe yanking the turnbuckle loose. And, obviously, that low blow to Snitsky. Looks like that was going to be the only way Duncombe was going to be able to get the win. He obviously wasn't going to win this one cleanly.
I guess not. But he sure slipped that low blow in under the referee's nose.
It was almost elegant, the way Bob Duncombe did indeed slip that low blow onto Gene Snitsky directly under the nose of referee Charles Lucera. And well, I guess Big Bob Duncombe, being a seasoned veteran in that ring, he knows exactly how to get around a referee if he has to. And so, fans, there you have it. Big Bob Duncombe gets the Duke over Gene Snitsky. MJ Ferrantino checking on an injured Gene Snitsky. And look out! Duncombe with a chair struck him right across the back. Primetime Bobby Mills getting into the act too, attacking both Snitsky and Ferrantino with steel chairs. This is absolutely insane. We'll be right back with more RWL Rage right after this, ladies and gentlemen. Fans, one more tag team match to wrap up the first hour tonight. Who is going to face Will Cox and Hollywood for the Rage tag team titles? Will it be the Iron Sheik and Tojo Yamamoto, or former champions Chris Wilde and Jeff Fortune? That's what this match is going to decide.
This next tag match, one fall with a 20-minute time limit, is a number 1 contender match for the Rage Tag Team Championships. Approaching the ring first, at a combined weight of 482 pounds, from Tokyo, Japan, Tojo Yamamoto, and from Tehran, Iran, the Iron Sheik.
Now, while Chris and Jeff are the former Rage Tag Team Champions pre-Will Cox in Hollywood, the Iron Sheik and Tojo used to be Tag Team Champions, Legends Division, and they want to get some gold back. Now, they've got a lot more experience than the 12 to 15 years that Chris and Jeff already have in RWL. So it's going to be a real tough call for both teams.
And of course, it cannot be ignored that Chris Wilde and Jeff Fortune were not only the former Rage Tag Team Champions, they have been Tag Team Champions a vast number of times in that 12 to 15 years that they've been in RWL. And it's going to be a very tough match all the way down the road between them, Tojo, and the Iron Sheik.
As for me, I'm thinking towards next week's Supercard. If Wild Fortune wins, they've got a fair chance of getting the Rage Tag belts back from Wilcox and Hollywood. But if it's the Sheik and Tojo, Wilcox and Hollywood better bring their dancing shoes.
Their opponents at a combined weight of 454 pounds, from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Chris Wilde, and from Loch Lomond, Virginia, Jeff Fortune, the team of Wild Fortune.
So you think the Sheik and Tojo could defeat Wilcox and Hollywood? Pray tell me why.
Because their odds of losing would go up quite a bit. Sheik and Tojo are definitely more experienced. In thinking Oliver and Tommy, along with Faye Crawford, would rather take their chances against Wild Fortune again.
So who's facing Wilcox and Hollywood next week? We will know at the end of the final bell. Tojo Yamamoto and Chris Wilde starting us off. There's the bell. Tojo misses with the knee, rebounds off the middle rope, takes down Chris Wilde with a flying elbow, follows it up with a stomp. A drop kick to the back of the head. Chris Wilde just a step too fast. Chris with a hard forearm to Tojo. Tojo Yamamoto down on the canvas as Chris Wilde starts to go to work here. A rolling elbow across the chest of Tojo. A solid kick across the back. And another. Chris Wilde really starting to open up here against Tojo Yamamoto. A rear chin lock. Referee Willie Johnson checking things out here, but whoa, Tojo quickly out of that one. Tojo Yamamoto driving hard knees into the midsection of Chris Wilde. Chris goes behind on Tojo, German suplex. Chris with an overhand right. A kick to the midsection, a clubbing overhand right to Tojo's back. Down he goes. Here comes Jeff Fortune, the former Rage Tag Team Champions, multi-time Tag Team Champions, Wild Fortune. So far, firmly in control of this match. Jeff Fortune with an elbow escapes the corner. Tojo opens up with a series of kicks that backs Jeff Fortune off. Jeff catches a clothesline from Tojo and down he goes. Tojo Yamamoto steps out. Here comes the Iron Sheik. Sheiky baby moves in. Winds up the... Oh man, look at this. The Iron Sheik slamming Jeff Fortune to the canvas, follows it up with an arm break. Oh. Jeff Fortune misses with the elbow, counters with another. A running elbow takes down the Iron Sheik. Iron Sheik countered again by Jeff Fortune. Jeff goes behind, slams the Iron Sheik down on the canvas. Jeff Fortune quickly making his way up to the top turnbuckle here as the Iron Sheik stands himself up. Tojo trying to stop it. The high-risk maneuver changed out for a knee to the head by Jeff Fortune. Jeff quickly beating it out of town, and here comes Chris Wilde again. Chris Wilde, a Memphis millionaire and a multi-time Tag Team Champion. The Iron Sheik with Chris Wilde up over the shoulders, hangs him up off the top rope. Down goes Chris. Sheik drives a knee into the back of Chris Wilde. Iron Sheik locks him up. Elbows to the midsection from Chris. Backs off the Sheik. Big time drop kick. Jeff Fortune with catching a jawbreaker from the Iron Sheik, followed up with a clothesline. Iron Sheik steps out. Here comes Tojo Yamamoto. The team of Sheik and Tojo. Very efficient pairing. Tojo with a series of shots and a back fist and a rebound off the ropes with an elbow that takes Chris Wilde down to the canvas. Chris rounded up again. Tojo with a series of wrist clutch kicks takes Chris Wilde down to the canvas. And Tojo Yamamoto going to take his time, torturing the arm and following it up with a pair of knees into the back of Chris Wilde. A series of hard lefts from Tojo, followed up with a stomp to the midsection. Tojo, a hard right, spins around Chris. Look at this. Whoa, what a wrist clutch knee right there from Tojo. Tojo Yamamoto rounds up Chris, misses with the spin kick, catches a headbutt from Chris Wilde, and here comes Jeff Fortune on the tag again. Both teams tagging extremely efficiently. This is going to be a very tough #1 contenders match. Tojo Yamamoto countered by Jeff Fortune. Jeff Fortune locked up. Whoa! What a kick from Tojo Yamamoto. Tojo with a discus punch that takes down Jeff Fortune. Jeff Fortune slams him face down to the canvas by his arm. Here comes Chris Wilde again. Tojo Yamamoto catches a kick, a right, a chop. Goes behind, German suplex from Chris Wilde. Chris turns him over. Gathers him up again. Leg sweep from Tojo Yamamoto. Tojo out here on the outside, on the apron. Whoa! Hung up Chris Wilde off the top rope. Brings himself back inside the ring. Kick to the midsection from Chris. Chris whips Tojo out onto the apron again. Gets a hold and gets hung up a second time. Tojo Yamamoto extremely lucky out there on the apron this evening. Kick to the midsection from Chris and a DDT center ring to Tojo. Here comes Jeff Fortune. Jeff moves in on Tojo. Kick to the midsection. Quickly countered by Tojo Yamamoto. Tojo whips Jeff to the far corner. A series of kicks. One to the face and down goes Jeff Fortune. A kick to the chest and oh, look at this. Tojo just pushing all his weight into the chest of Jeff Fortune, and whoa, both knees right into the chest. A little bit of showboating from Tojo, and here comes the Iron Sheik. Sheiky baby, rounded up by Jeff Fortune, whipped into the far corner. Jeff pulls him out, takes himself to the middle rope, and oh, what a bulldog off the middle rope. And here comes Chris Wilde again. Tojo Yamamoto just getting to a standing position here as Chris locks him up. Escorts him to the ropes. Chris Wilde drops him down to the middle rope, and here he comes. Drives the knee right into the back of the Iron Sheik. Iron Sheik locked up against, slammed face first into the canvas with an inverted Russian leg sweep. A jawbreaker from the Iron Sheik and a clothesline that takes Chris Wilde down to the canvas again. Iron Sheik gathers him back up. Escorts him to his team's corner, head first into the turnbuckle. But Chris, quick with the counter. And a knee to the head to the Iron Sheik that takes him down to the canvas again. Chris Wilde locks him up. Iron Sheik counters with a series of elbows. Chris Wilde catches an uppercut from the Sheik. Iron Sheik with Chris up over the shoulder, snake eyes right across the top turnbuckle. Iron Sheik drives a knee into the arm of Chris Wilde. Chris gathered up again by the Iron Sheik. Hard Irish whip to the opposing team's corner. And the Iron Sheik introduces him head first into the buckle again. Chris quickly counters with a right, locks up the Iron Sheik, slams him face first into the canvas again with that inverted Russian leg sweep. And here comes Jeff Fortune once more. Iron Sheik back to a standing position as Jeff Fortune rains blows and follows it up with a DDT. Immediately covers, hooks the leg one, and barely just a one. Tojo Yamamoto keen to get in there, but Jeff Fortune was a crossface on the Iron Sheik, preventing the tag. Referee Willie Johnson monitoring the Iron Sheik. Look at this. Chris Wilde going after Tojo. Iron Sheik trying to extricate himself. Whoa! What a way to get out of the hold. Dropping Jeff Fortune like a sack of potatoes. A series of chops, a kick, and a dragon screw from the Iron Sheik. Iron Sheik rounds him up. Quick counter from Jeff Fortune. Fortune locks him up, has him up, drives a knee right into the midsection of the Iron Sheik. Iron Sheik counters with a kick to the head of Jeff Fortune. Jeff rounded up again. A hard right spins him around by the Iron Sheik. Sheik with a nice suplex on Jeff Fortune. He looks like he might be in big trouble. Might want to think about tagging in Chris Wilde again. Hit first into the turnbuckle. And here's a tag to Tojo. And a double team from the pair. Jeff catches a huge back body drop as Tojo Yamamoto assumes control of this match for his team. A series of running forearms Jeff Fortune quickly counters. A kick to the midsection. Tries for the DDT, but no good. Tojo Yamamoto with a series of shots. Tojo takes him back to his team's corner. Head first into the buckle. Here comes the Iron Sheik again. This team clicking like a 21 jewel watch. Hard shot to the midsection. A hard shot to the back. Iron Sheik with another shot to the back of Jeff Fortune. And a third. Iron Sheik absolutely relentless here. Whoa! Did you see that? It was like a Cobra clutch suplex. Jeff slams the Iron Sheik to the canvas. Locks him up. Sets up the neckbreaker and nails it. As Jeff Fortune decides it's time to go and turns it over to Chris Wilde. Iron Sheik charges, misses with the clothesline, catches a kick to the midsection to Chris Wilde. A standing drop kick that takes Chris down to the mat again. Iron Sheik dragging Chris Wilde towards center. Chris Wilde counters with a nice kick that takes the Sheik down. Chris Wilde rounds up the Iron Sheik again. Takes him back to the Wild Fortune corner. Head first into the turnbuckle. A hard right from Chris. Iron Sheik counters with an elbow. Finds his way out. A snapmare and a driving knee right into the face of Chris Wilde from the Iron Sheik. The Iron Sheik again dragging Chris towards center, but Chris making his way to the corner. And here comes Jeff Fortune on a hot tag. Whoa, this should be good. Jeff Fortune nails him with a neckbreaker. Iron Sheik trying to get back to his feet, catches a knee from Jeff. Iron Sheik in all kinds of pain here. Chris Wilde watching as Jeff Fortune sets up a possible submission here. Whoa! Stretching the leg, the knee, the everything. The lower half of the Iron Sheik got to be in agony. Jeff Fortune's got it locked in well. Referee Willie Johnson checking things out, but Jeff releases the hold. Rounds the Iron Sheik back up to a standing position. Sheik counters with a kick to the midsection. Jeff counters. A kick and another DDT to the Iron Sheik. A stomp to the arm. Jeff Fortune working on both arms here. He goes for a cover, but too close to the ropes. Those Persian boots. Just a little bit too long. Headbutt from Jeff Fortune on the Iron Sheik. And now it's the Iron Sheik who looks like he might be in trouble. Locks up Jeff Fortune. Takes him towards his team's corner. Smashes his head into the turnbuckle. Here comes Tojo Yamamoto, and here comes another double team. Jeff whipped to the ropes again. Double shoulder tackle. And Tojo Yamamoto stalking Jeff Fortune here. This may not be good. Tojo has him up. Inverted fireman's carry, a knee right to the head, and here goes a cover and a hook of the leg. 1, 2, but only a 2. Jeff Fortune kicking out a 2 here. Tojo catching some elbows from Jeff. Tojo backs off towards the corner. Jeff Fortune has a hold of the trunks. He's got him up. Oh! Drops him. Face first. Jeff Fortune locks up, catches a kick from Tojo. Tojo rebounds off the middle ropes. Beautiful kick from Tojo Yamamoto. And here comes the Iron Sheik again as Jeff Fortune tries to make his way to his corner to tag in Chris Wilde. The Iron Sheik absolutely lit up here as Chris Wilde is tagged in. The Iron Sheik moves in, locks up, kick to the midsection of Chris Wilde. Chris counters with a kick of his own. Iron Sheik counters, goes behind on Chris. An elbow from Chris Wilde. They lock up again. And a suplex from Chris. The Iron Sheik catching hard right hands from Chris Wilde. And now, oh, here we go again. Chris Wilde absolutely relentless now. A rolling elbow to the chest of the Iron Sheik. Chris Wilde looks like he's setting up the same submission that Jeff Fortune used. He most certainly is. Willie Johnson monitoring the situation. And Chris Wilde has it equally well locked in. Iron Sheik could be in some trouble here. Chris releases the hold, and here comes Tojo Yamamoto. Tojo locks him up. Chris whipped to the far corner. Chris counters with an elbow. Tojo locks him up again, but look at this. Chris Wilde with an inverted DDT. A very nice counter. Chris with a flip over neck whip on Tojo. And going right back to work on the legs of Tojo Yamamoto with a heel hook stretch. Chris Wilde and Jeff Fortune, a very efficient team for sure. Whoa, a spear out of absolutely no place, and here's a cover with a hook of the leg. 1, 2. Oh, whoa. Tojo Yamamoto finds his way out, catches it, right in the nose. Slam face first, and here comes Jeff Fortune again. Tojo Yamamoto laid out center ring, and he ain't moving. Jeff Fortune capitalizing with a rear chin lock center ring. No ropes for Tojo to get to. The Iron Sheik watching intently, doesn't know if he's going to have to intercede here on behalf of Tojo. And here comes Chris Wilde again. Tojo has not moved from center ring since. A stomp to the shoulder from Chris Wilde as Chris makes his way to the top turnbuckle. And here we go. Beautiful diving crossbody. Look at the hang time on that one, huh? Here's a cover and a hook of the leg. 1, 2. And again, Tojo Yamamoto finding his way out of danger. Breaking the pin. Here's a kick to the head from Tojo. Locks up Chris. Winds him up. Beautiful kick right there. And here comes the Iron Sheik. So far, this match, no sign of a winner so far. No wins, no pins, no tap-outs. Look at this over here. Whoa! Double arm suplex from the Iron Sheik on Chris Wilde. Chris turned over by Sheiky Baby. This could be it right here. The Sheik calling for the camel clutch. And he has got it locked in. Tojo moves in, gets rid of Jeff Fortune. And that is it. Willie Johnson has just sounded the bell. Iron Sheik and Tojo Yamamoto, the new #1 contender.
Here's the time, 10 minutes and 40 seconds. Your winners, Tojo Yamamoto and the Iron Sheik.
Hey, check it out. I was, more or less, right on the money with this one. And it was a hard-fought match from both sides. So now, Sheik and Tojo will face Wilcox and Hollywood, and we could be looking at new Rage Tag Team Champions by next week. Sure, I feel a little badly for Chris and Jeff, but in the very big world of tag teams in RWL, another title shot will find them soon enough. Tommy Wilcox and Oliver Hollywood will be facing an even tougher challenge next week.
And that concludes the first hour of tonight's RWL Rage. We will be back with hour 2 right after this brief intermission.